Welcome back to the Theme Park Realm YouTube channel, and welcome back to another brand new episode in the Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 series. And first of all, my apologies, because I do know that it has been some time since I last released a video, so my apologies for that, but we are back on there now, and we are working back on the space-themed area. You know, like I've said previously, it does take me quite a long time to make these videos, so I do apologise, but I am going to be back now, and I do intend on uploading at least one video every Friday again, as I was doing previously. So hopefully I can continue with that. And like I say, you know, this space-themed area now, it really is starting to come together. You can see that I'm just working now on sort of the finishing touches around the area, really, and getting some more rides, some flat rides in there. Obviously, in the last video, we did finish off that that secondary dive coaster. We've already built that indoor sort of slash outdoor coaster as well. So now it's really just about going around and trying to sort of finish the area off. So you'll see in this video, I'm going to be going in there and adding some flat rides to the area. I might add another few flat rides as well in the next video. But then after that, it is really just kind of adding the finishing touches. You know, we've got those two major coasters in there that I wanted to get in, and now we just need to add like all those finer details, try and make this area kind of stand out from all of the other areas. And you know, to be fair, like so far, I am actually really happy with how the area is looking. I think it's, you know, turned out to be a really good one. And it was kind of that way with the spooky themed area as well. When I first started working on that, I kind of wasn't sure about it. But then obviously as we got towards the end of it, I was like, actually, you know, this is a really good area for the park. And I think, you know, I feel the same really with the space themed area. I think it's looking really good. And, you know, as long as I can get sort of, you know, as much detail into it as possible, I can't see why, you know, it wouldn't be one of the better areas in the, you know, in the actual park itself. I've never really used the space theming very much in RCT3. And the main kind of reason for that is just because it is quite fiddly to work with, I find. A lot of like the buildings and stuff like that for the space themed stuff, they're quite difficult to build up because they've all got like curved rounded edges. So that's one of the reasons why I've never really dabbled with the space theming on there before. But I think what I've done with this area really does just go to show, you know, there is a lot that you can do with the space theming. You've just got to kind of be a bit more creative with it than you have perhaps with other sort of theme settings. Like I think with the, you know, the spooky theme and also like the western theme and the generic theme as well, the buildings with that, they're a lot easier to build. You know, you don't have like curved edges and stuff like that, but if you can get creative with it, you definitely can do some really nice looking buildings with the space theming. You know, I think if I went in and you know, and tried to do this again, I think it probably would end up looking better, because I've got a little bit of experience now of working with that space theming in the game, whereas, you know, when I started doing this area, I didn't have any of that experience at all, really. So I think, you know, it's something, you know, that you've got to just do if you want to use, you know, like the space theming. You've got to just do it and kind of build up that experience of using it, and then obviously as you go through, you do tend to just get better and better, you know, at building up the detail and stuff like that. But it definitely is one of the more tricky kind of theming styles to work with. I definitely think that's the case with the space theming. But yeah, you know, like I say, once you've got used to it, you know, it's absolutely fine. Then it's just a case of getting your head around like all the curved edges and stuff like that. That's the most difficult part. But you can see what I did for this flat ride is I made like almost like a sort of like a building round the queue line. Now I couldn't put a building over the ride itself. I wanted to try and make the ride indoors, but with the way that the theming is for this, it's pretty much impossible to actually do a big enough building to make the whole ride indoors. So in the end, I just went ahead and made the exit queue line kind of like an indoor area, and I just thought that'd look nice as well, because you can see you've got the entrance to the area just next to that, so I think it just looks nicer from that side as well, to add a bit of sort of theming and detail to the area as well. So that's why I did that. Don't get me wrong, it probably would have been nice to have that on the entrance as well, but I'd already kind of like done the entrance, and that was kind of done afterwards, so that's why I've only done it on the exit. I might go back actually and change the entrance to have that style as well, because it does look quite cool, and you know, I'm really happy now with this whole area. The dive coaster, I think it's actually one of my favourite rides in the whole park. I just really like the style of it. I think it looks really nice, and the way that it's kind of like dug into the ground and goes around all of like the theming and stuff like that as well. I really am a big fan of that dive coaster. But yeah, you can see the area now, it's starting to look really nice, to be fair. You know, I'm just trying to add those finer details, and like you'll see in a minute, I'm going to start adding food stalls and stuff like that in there as well, and that'll continue into the next video as well. I'll continue adding little bits to this space themed area. Like I say, you know, we are coming almost to the end of this series now. You know, once I've done this space themed area, there's a little bit more that I want to do to the front of the park, and then I might go round some of the other areas and have a little look at those as well. But that really will be it once we've done that, we'll be ready then to kind of open up the whole park, start letting peeps in, start, naming the rides as well, because of course I've not done that yet. I've not actually gone round and named any of the coasters on there. So, like I said before, if you do have any name suggestions, then do let me know in the comments down below, because I will be taking those on board, and seeing what we can do with them, see what names we can come up with. Because at the moment everything's just called like generic things like dive coaster, hyper coaster, stuff like that, that the game kind of does. But you can see what I'm doing now is I'm trying to kind of add like a backdrop to the area. So, similar to what we did in the spooky themed area, I'm trying to kind of do the same here, kind of add in like a little backdrop just so you can't see, all them like generic trees and stuff that, that are in the background, trying to sort of segregate the area from the backdrop there by adding that kind of almost like a wall. Obviously in this area it's not, actually a wall, it's more like a sort of like a rocky facade it'll be once I've finished it. But I just think it's nice to have that, just to kind of segregate the area and kind of separate it from the backdrop, because like I say, there's some quite like generic looking trees in that, and I don't really want that to be visible from the space themed area at all, if I can help that. But yeah, overall I'm really happy with how this area is turning out. Like I said, there's a bit more work to do, but I think it's going to be one of probably one of the the stronger areas in the park, I would think. But of course, this week it is theme park reopening week. The theme parks now, they've been reopened for I think it'll just be coming up to a week now on Monday in the UK. The theme parks have reopened, and do you know what? Like, what I've noticed this year with all the theme parks is they've really gone to town with like doing work over close season. So like, for example, Blackpool Pleasure Beach, they've added like loads of different things around the park. So not necessarily things that most people would notice, but they've like obviously retracked the big one. They've changed like the restraints very slightly on Icon, but they're just like little bits of work all around the park, and it really does just make the whole park look a lot nicer. And the same thing for Alton Towers as well. They've repainted all of Tower Street, they've made that all look really nice. They've gone round, they've added all of those events in throughout the season as well. We've got like Mardi Gras, Scarefest fireworks, Oktoberfest. So they've got loads of different events. They've built like a massive stage on the lawns and stuff like that. I think Alton Towers have really gone to town this year in terms of like events and stuff that they've added around the parks as well. But on top of that, we've also seen extended opening hours for Alton Towers, and Blackpool Pleasure Beach trying to encourage people to stay in their parks later as well. What they did the other night is they kind of like, obviously the rides close at 5, but then they said we're going to keep all the shops and everything open later than that, so you can sort of stay in the park, have a look around the shops and stuff like that. So these extended opening hours, like, I hope that the parks are realizing now that they need to they need to be open longer than what they were. The demand is definitely there. People want the park to be open longer. People want to be able to come in a bit later, and enjoy the park into the evening as well. So hopefully, the UK parks now are starting to realise that there is a demand there to have later opening hours. So we'll just see how that goes. Into the future. I don't know whether it is something that they'll keep. I think they are obviously just doing it at the moment because of COVID. But who knows? Maybe in the future they might consider continuing the extended opening hours. I mean, obviously, you're still going to get the same amount of people in the park, but I would imagine if it's open longer, you're going to get more sales in like shops and stuff like that. So I think from like a business point of view, it probably does make sense because of all those extra sales and stuff like that once people are actually in the park. But whether or not it does, create enough profit for for them to sort of keep doing it into the future, I don't know. But yeah, it's definitely interesting to see anyway. But let me know in the comments down below if you've been out at the since the parks have opened. Do let me know in the comments. I'm hopefully going to get to some parks this week, but I've not actually had a chance yet to get out and go to Alton Towers or go to Thorpe Park or anything like that. But hopefully this week I'll be able to. But yeah, going back to the game, really happy with how the area is looking. Obviously in the next episode we will carry on working on that. We'll carry on building up that theme in that detail. But apart from that, that's pretty much it for today's episode. So, once again, thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already. There will be more videos coming in the future. And apart from that, once again, just thank you very much for all the support. There is a lot of people that do comment on this series every week. I really do appreciate it. So, thank you very much, and I will see you next time.